The topic I will be discussing is one that is crucial within the realm of criminal justice and greatly needs further research to be better understood and combated. The post-event misinformation effect is one of the most common interferences with accurate eyewitness testimony and can easily make or break a court case. Therefore, understanding how eyewitness memory is unconsciously affected will greatly help us avoid misinformation where truth is so imperative. So, to give a brief definition and overview of this concept, the textbook defines the post-event misinformation effect as just one of the ways eyewitness testimony can be perverted. Human memory is subject to many, many flaws, and that must be understood. It's called perception for a reason, and everyone perceives differently. This effect occurs when people encounter misleading information about the event they witnessed. They then remember that incorrect version of events later on, not even realizing their memory has changed. You may remember details or timeline incorrectly, remember things that never happened, or pick someone out of a lineup who they've never seen before in their life. This can be explained by several different aspects of the post-event misinformation effect. Providing a witness with misinformation can occur in a variety of ways, either intentional or unintentional. Commonly, police interrogators mislead individuals to serve the goal of law enforcement, or because the cops truly believe the person has information, but they accidentally feed it to them. Retroactive interference illustrates how newly learned information tends to replace the previous version of the information. People can typically only hold one version of events in memory at a time. Faulty source monitoring also explains part of this effect, because people are often unable to remember where or from whom they learned the information. After a long enough time, people don't even know why they know what they know. Time delay, stress, plausibility of misinformation, social pressure, such as leading questions, and positive feedback are all excellent examples of why people are subject to misinformation. All of these factors can make it more common for people to be subject to this effect. All of the preceding info is found in Cognition by Farmer and Matlin. So now let's go a little deeper. Why are people vulnerable to this effect? Well, research by Tekin et al. Indicates that a person's level of independence is correlated with how susceptible they are to the post-event misinformation effect. Independence, or conversely, dependence, on other people for validation. The more self-reliant a person tends to be, the less likely they are to easily change their minds. The authority and identity of the informer also plays a big part. There's a good chance a witness would believe information from credible media sources, police or legal advisors, or someone in a position of power. We unwittingly tend to trust and believe people in these positions. However, the witness probably wouldn't be subject to misinformation from a stranger on the street or a young child, because they don't carry authority. The importance and plausibility of the misinformation are typically considered by the witness. If someone is both less independent than the average person and is given misinformation by a co-witness, it is extremely likely they will believe that information. However, most people, unless they're highly suggestible, do not believe just anything, but if it makes sense to them and the narrative they have of the event, they just might take hold of it. The willingness of witnesses to answer yes in response to a misleading question is an important factor, discussed by the study conducted by Paz Alonso et al. This is referred to as compliance by this study, and essentially means that when a witness responds yes to something they didn't actually experience, they are being misled. They often simply feel pressured into it because their memory is shaky, and saying they don't know may not be acceptable. Ultimately, as you can see, there are numerous factors that go into the idea of why people are vulnerable to the post-event misinformation effect, including the ones we've talked about and others. It's very clear from these studies that this phenomenon of memory coincides with the idea from the textbook that memory is not set in stone, but extremely flexible and subject to manipulation by either the person who holds the memories subconsciously or an outside force. Therefore, post-event misinformation effect is very real and very relevant in a justice system where eyewitness testimony plays such a central role. Research needs to continue so that those in the justice system can better understand the actual value of eyewitness testimony. This emphasizes how crucial cognitive psychology and indeed any other disciplines of psychological research are to the understanding of human mental behavior and thus the betterment of society.